Have you ever felt that sinking feeling watching someone you care about quietly destroy their own success? Or caught yourself realizing you might be your own worst enemy? It's not bad luck, not a lack of talent. It's the careless words, the unbroken habits, invisible chains tightening around your potential. Caught in a relentless loop, trapped by comfort, blinded by denial, a prison built with your own hands. We all know that person, the one who speaks just to be heard, fights just to win, and dodges responsibility like poison. Yet every day, you face the same choice: stay shackled or break free. Here's the brutal truth: you don't have to live as a prisoner of your own making. Stoicism teaches us that true power isn't noise or force. It's mastery. Mastery of silence, mastery of self. Real strength is owning every choice, refusing to let words or actions control you. Today, we'll expose the 12 habits silently suffocating your potential habits that keep you chained to the same place. More importantly, we'll learn how to shatter those chains and live with clarity, purpose, and unshakable strength. Ask yourself, how long will you let these habits dictate your fate? How long will you stay the person you secretly despise? Change your habits. Change your life. The power is already in your hands. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is your first step toward building the discipline and wisdom that will change your life. 1. They speak more than they think. We all know that person. Maybe you've been them. The one who never stops talking, filling every silence as if quiet were a threat. They don't speak because they have something important to say. They speak because silence makes them uncomfortable. It's like they believe constant chatter makes them smarter, more valuable. But here's the harsh truth. The more they talk, the more they reveal their ignorance. The more they talk, the less they listen. The more they talk, the more they miss the subtle meaning hidden in the conversation. Words are powerful tools, but used carelessly, they become weapons against yourself. Like shouting into a storm, the noise drowns out the truth. Talking too much isn't intelligence, it's insecurity, a desperate attempt to control, to feel validated, to escape the discomfort of silence. The wise know when to speak and when to stay silent. Silence can be sharper than any word. Not everything needs explanation or defense. Sometimes saying nothing says everything. When you speak less, you create space. Space to listen, to think, to reflect. You stop reacting and start responding. It's in these pauses that clarity appears. Clarity the overtalker will never find, too busy filling the room with noise. Think of a heated argument you've seen one person talking non-stop, rushing to defend their ego, desperate for the last word. In that endless flood of noise, they lose themselves. Their power drains with every needless word. They aren't engaging. They're protecting a fragile ego. Now, picture the opposite. Someone calm, composed, silent. They observe, understand, and choose their response. That is wisdom found in the spaces between words. It's easy to get swept away by noise, but the wise stand firm, choosing silence as their strength. Next time you're tempted to break the silence, stop, breathe, ask yourself, what am I really trying to prove? In that moment lies more power than any endless stream of words can give. Over time, your words will carry weight. People will listen because they know you don't speak just to be heard. You'll develop restraint, the strength of silence, and a quiet wisdom that shapes how others see you, but that's a secret for another time. So next time you're in a conversation, speak less, listen more. You might discover a depth of understanding you never knew existed. Remember, power isn't found in noise, it's found in restraint. As Seneca said, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it in speaking. Master silence. Master yourself. 2. They get offended by truth. Truth is a force more powerful than any blow. It doesn't injure the body. It wounds something deeper, the ego. The moment truth hits, it can shake the very foundation of who we think we are. But here's the hard reality. A truly foolish person can't handle the truth. They fight it, resist it, twist it. The moment you offer honest feedback, they don't listen. Sound familiar? Instead, their pride flares like wildfire burning bridges before they can build. They lash out, get defensive, angry, dismissive. They argue about your tone, your motives, even your right to speak anything to dodge the real issue. Why is it so hard to just face reality? It's as if their entire identity depends on always being right, and when that's challenged, it feels like an attack on their very existence. The tragic part? They don't see that accepting truth, sitting with it, and learning from it is a sign of true strength. This isn't about winning arguments. It's about embracing reality, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. The wise understand this deeply. They know truth isn't the enemy. It's a mirror reflecting our flaws, yes, but also pointing the way forward. Marcus Aurelius said it best, "If someone corrects you and shows you your mistake, consider it a gift." That mindset transforms us. When you accept correction, you're not broken down, you're built up. It's easy to react defensively, to fight back, argue, protect your position at all costs. But that's the path of the fool. The foolish cling to denial, convinced their view is the only truth. The Stoics knew this. You cannot grow without first admitting what you don't know. Admitting when you're wrong isn't weakness. It's the steel that sharpens the blade of wisdom. Those who embrace truth, welcome criticism and feedback. They're the ones who grow. It's not about always being right. It's about being willing to change when you realize you're wrong. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Life delivers hard truths constantly. How you respond defines you. React with defensiveness, and you stay trapped in the same cycles. Respond with humility and openness, and you begin to grow. So how do we learn to handle truth better? It starts with humility, the courage to admit we don't have all the answers, the humility to listen, to accept we may not always be right, and to understand being wrong doesn't make you less, it makes you human. Every time you own your mistakes and learn, you gain strength. It's in those vulnerable moments resilience is forged. Resilience to keep moving forward. In today's world, pride tempts us, especially on social media, rewarding the illusion of perfection. But real strength comes from facing flaws and moving forward anyway. It's the hard work of self-reflection and the bravery to grow beyond who you once were. So the next time you face a hard truth, don't shy away. Take it in, let it settle. Remember, wisdom isn't never being wrong. It's knowing when to admit it, learn from it, and evolve. Release the need to always be right, and watch your life transform. Truth is uncomfortable, but it's the only path to freedom. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Embrace truth, grow stronger, become unstoppable. 3. They blame everyone but themselves. There's always a reason, always an excuse. A foolish person throws blame like a shield, protecting themselves from the truth. They point fingers at everyone, parents, bosses, circumstances, even the universe. It's like they've been handed a script, and their only role is the victim. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Have you ever caught yourself doing this? Blaming others is easy. It takes the heat off. It's simple to look outward and say, this happened because of them, or if they hadn't done that, I wouldn't be here. But here's the problem. When you're always blaming, you're never taking control. You're never owning your actions. And as long as you stay trapped in that mindset, growth will never come. You'll never move forward. The Stoics understood a fundamental truth. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Life isn't perfect. People will disappoint you. Circumstances will rarely be in your favor. But there's one thing you always control: how you respond. The moment you start blaming others, you give away your power. You hand the reins of your life to someone else. You lose the ability to change, to grow, to become better. Accepting responsibility isn't easy, especially when life feels like it's working against you. But here's the truth. When you refuse to blame, when you accept full responsibility, you gain freedom. You're no longer a victim of circumstances or other people's actions. You become the one in charge. Carl Jung said it perfectly. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. This is the essence of personal freedom. It's in your hands. You choose how to respond. You decide how to move forward, regardless of what happens. Stop blaming the world. Break free from the chains of victimhood. You take your power back. And that's how growth begins. It's in those moments when you face your mistakes head-on, when you admit you were wrong, that you become better. Owning your mistakes doesn't make you weak. It makes you stronger. It's the starting point for change, the foundation of real growth. When you acknowledge your role in what happened, you break free from the cycle of blame. You stop waiting for someone else to fix it. Instead, you start fixing it yourself. This process isn't easy. It demands self-awareness and humility qualities many avoid. But the more you practice responsibility, the easier it gets. The more you own your actions, the more empowered you feel. The more you realize you are the key to your own success. Whether in relationships, work, or personal life, taking responsibility is the game changer. When you stop blaming others, you open the door to endless possibilities for self-improvement. So next time you feel the urge to blame someone or something, pause, stop, reflect. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What can I control? It won't always be easy. But when you embrace responsibility, you embrace freedom. You stop being a victim and start becoming the architect of your life. Every time you take responsibility, no matter how hard you move one step closer to the person you're meant to be. And that's where true growth begins. What will you choose, blame or responsibility? Take responsibility and watch how your world changes. Blame steals your power. Responsibility returns it. As Epictetus said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Own your life. Own your growth. Become unstoppable. 4. They refuse to listen or learn. A foolish person doesn't listen. They speak only to win. Every conversation is a battlefield, where being right is more important than learning or understanding. They don't engage to exchange ideas or grow. They engage to defend themselves, protect their fragile ego, and prove their point is the only one that matters. They interrupt, they argue, they double down on their mistakes rather than pause and absorb what's being said. They treat every disagreement as war, not growth. The real tragedy? They don't realize how much they hold themselves back with every refusal to listen. Every time they shut down another perspective, they slam the door on growth. They miss out on learning, on understanding other viewpoints, on developing the flexible mind that true wisdom demands. The belief that being right is everything locks them in a mental prison, a cage of their own making. Their thoughts grow stagnant. Their growth stalls. Why? Because they choose to guard their fragile certainty rather than challenge it. Think about the last time you truly listened in a conversation. Not just waiting for your turn to speak, but absorbing every word. Feeling the weight of each idea as it lands. It's a rare skill, but one that changes everything. When was the last time you heard someone out completely? No interruptions, no rehearsed rebuttals, just pure listening. That's when real learning begins. It's easy to get caught in the desperate need to be right. Our egos demand defense, proof that we know better. But here's the truth. You cannot grow by defending your position. When you fixate on being right, you close yourself off from learning. But when you choose to listen, really listen, you open doors. You give yourself space to evolve, to refine your thinking, to challenge your assumptions. And that is where true intelligence lives. Ironically, those obsessed with being right learn the least. They build walls, a world where their opinion is law, and in doing so, trap themselves in a narrow box. They think they have all the answers, but in reality, their view is incomplete, limited. Meanwhile, those who are willing to listen, to learn, to be corrected, they grow. They expand their vision, deepen their wisdom. As Seneca said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. The fear of being wrong traps us. So, next time you feel the urge to prove you're right, pause. Stop. Ask yourself, what can I learn here? What if I'm wrong? Don't just ask, truly listen. Open yourself to new ideas, even if they challenge everything you believe. Humility isn't weakness. It's the steel that sharpens the blade of wisdom. The more you listen, the more you learn. The more you learn, the wiser you become. True intelligence isn't about having all the answers. It's about knowing you don't. It's about being willing to listen, to learn, and to grow from every conversation, every experience, every mistake. That's how you break free from a rigid mind trapped in certainty. That's how you see the world with fresh eyes. It's a path demanding humility, openness, and the courage to evolve. The foolish cling to their rightness, unwilling to bend. But the wise embrace uncertainty. So, the next time you're in a conversation, remember, wisdom isn't found in speaking the loudest. It's found in being open to learning the most. Are you ready to stop defending and start listening? To break free from the prison of being right and step into true growth? The choice is yours. Listen deeply. Learn endlessly. Become unstoppable. 5. They chase attention, not improvement. In today's world, the hunger for attention is everywhere. People chase likes, followers, validation, trapped in a relentless race for approval. The louder you shout, the more your shadow stretches. But here's the hard truth. When you live for applause, you're chasing shadows. It's shallow, fleeting, like a spark that burns bright, then dies in an instant. A flash of light swallowed by darkness. A foolish person performs desperately for the world's eyes, hoping that by being seen, they'll feel worthy. But what they don't realize is they've become prisoners to external validation. So consumed by what others think, they forget the one opinion that truly matters, their own. The Stoics teach us to live for something deeper. Improvement, growth. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, the approval of others gains you nothing. Think about that. Seeking external praise is a dead-end street. True strength doesn't crave an audience. It doesn't need applause. Real power comes from within, from doing what's right, from pushing yourself forward even when no one is watching. The reward isn't in being seen. It's in knowing, deep down, that you're becoming better than you were yesterday. Becoming the best version of yourself, no matter who's watching or who's not. The Stoic path isn't about shutting out the world or ignoring feedback. It's about understanding that validation is temporary. Internal growth, that's what lasts. The Stoic doesn't need constant reassurance. They don't seek applause to feel worthy. Their motivation doesn't come from likes or comments. It comes from effort, from progress, no matter how small. This is the mindset that brings true fulfillment, because it's rooted in who you are, not in how others see you. So next time you're about to post something, pause. Ask yourself, am I seeking attention or improvement? Am I feeding my ego or nurturing my growth? Are you chasing applause, or are you focused on the work that changes you, even if no one notices? This question is worth reflecting on, because every time you choose growth unseen, unheard, you build a strength that no one can take away. That's the strength that truly matters. It's easy to get lost in the game of seeking approval, but the Stoic knows the only approval worth having is your own. When you do the work for the sake of the work, when you improve for yourself, not for others, that's when you unlock real power. Remember, true strength isn't about being seen. It's about becoming the person you want to be, regardless of anyone's opinion. So stop chasing attention. Start chasing improvement. Applause fades, but the progress you make in silence lasts forever. Are you ready to break free from the noise? To stop performing for the world and start building strength in silence? The journey to real power begins when you choose growth over applause. Will you take that step today? As Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. 6. They repeat mistakes and call it experience. How often have you heard someone say, "I've been through this before," as if repeating the same mistake somehow makes them wiser? They confuse repetition with growth. They think experience is just facing the same problem again and again. But stubbornness often hides behind this mask of experience. We all know people who trip over the same stone, caught in a relentless loop, refusing to admit they're trapped. They mistake persistence for progress. Here's the hard truth. Wisdom doesn't come from repeating mistakes, it comes from learning and changing. Experience without reflection? It's nothing but a chain of failures. Seneca said it best. To err is human, but to persist in error is foolish. Mistakes are part of being human. Everyone falls sometimes. The difference? The fool repeats errors. The wise learn, then move forward. Mistakes aren't a broken record meant to be replayed. They are lessons, not punishments. The real danger is going through the motions without reflecting on what went wrong. If you don't pause to understand, you remain trapped, living the same day on repeat. Break free by asking one simple question. What can I learn from this? This question holds the key to growth. Stop making excuses. Stop blaming others. Look inward. Reflect deeply. What did I do differently? How could I have acted better? What will I change next time? When you see mistakes as opportunities, your mindset transforms. You stop being a prisoner of your past and start shaping your future. Learning from failure demands humility. It means shedding your ego, admitting fault, and accepting that progress isn't linear. But in this acceptance, true strength is born. You don't grow by pretending to be perfect or by repeating errors, hoping for a different outcome. You grow by examining your missteps, understanding why they happened, and using that knowledge to step forward, stronger, wiser, prepared. True wisdom isn't avoiding mistakes. It's owning them. It's using failure as fuel for your next leap. Mistakes are inevitable. What separates the wise from the foolish is how they respond. Reflect, learn, evolve. Turn every failure into a stepping stone. Keep running the same race, and you remain trapped forever. Next time you find yourself in this cycle, stop. Ask yourself, what is this experience really teaching me? How do I avoid repeating this mistake? The answers you find in those quiet moments will lead to true growth. Remember, it's not how many times you fall, but how often you rise, learn, and become stronger. Only then do you truly grow. Are you ready to break the cycle? To turn your failures into the foundation of your greatest strength? The moment you choose to learn is the moment you begin to transform. 7. They confuse confidence with competence. Confidence is a quiet force. The calm before the storm. The stillness that commands respect without a word. But many confuse noise for power. They mistake loud certainty for true skill, believing that forceful speech means truth. Have you ever met someone who speaks with thunder but delivers a whisper? That's not confidence. It's arrogance disguised as certainty. The Stoics understood this well. They knew real strength doesn't come from boasting or drowning out others. The loudest voices aren't always the strongest. True power is quiet, deliberate, unstoppable. True confidence grows from competence. It's the steady rhythm of effort, the unseen hours of practice behind the scenes. It doesn't need an audience to exist. It doesn't shout to be noticed. Confidence built on insecurity shatters under pressure, like glass breaking at the slightest touch. But confidence, born of skill and dedication, stands unbreakable, like bedrock beneath a raging sea. Think, when was the last time your actions spoke louder than your words? How often have you seen loud certainty crumble when tested? True confidence shows up in results, in progress, in resilience. You don't have to prove yourself when your work already does. So when you feel the urge to boast or dominate a conversation, pause. Ask yourself, am I confident because I've earned it? Or just trying to convince others and myself? Are you speaking to add value or simply to be heard? The fool wears confidence, like armor masking doubt with noise. The wise let their quiet strength speak. Because confidence, rooted in competence, doesn't need to shout. It simply is, unwavering, silent, undeniable. Stop chasing empty validation. Focus on mastery. Build real skill. And let true confidence rise strong, silent, and unstoppable. Will you choose the quiet strength of true mastery or settle for the empty roar of arrogance? The choice defines your legacy. 8. They think loud opinions mean strength. A foolish person believes loud opinions equal strength. They think raising their voice, dominating the conversation, asserts control, makes themselves heard, imposes their will. They mistake volume for power, believing the louder they speak, the more authority they command. But here's the truth. True strength doesn't shout. It stays calm, composed, unshaken. The Stoics knew this well. Self-control is the highest form of power. React too quickly, driven by raw emotion, and you hand the keys of your kingdom to chaos. But stay calm, stay mastering yourself, and you hold the true throne. The strength to remain composed in conflict. That's where real victory lives. Think of the last time you saw a heated argument. Voices clashing like thunder, trying to drown each other out. They believe the louder they roar, the more right they are. But loud voices scatter like leaves in a storm, while the still rock stands unshaken. The louder they speak, the less they listen. And in that noise, true connection dies. The truly strong don't shout to be heard. They speak with intention, measured, clear, and purposeful. Their words carry weight without demanding it. They don't waste breath dominating the room. They simply say what must be said and let it echo. When was the last time you held your ground in a heated moment? Maybe someone provoked you and your first instinct was to strike back, to defend, to prove, to win. You may have felt powerful, but did your shouting change anything or only fan the flames? Now imagine standing firm, calm, collected, unshaken. By pausing before reaction, you reclaim control. You clear space to respond with purpose, not impulse. This is where true strength breathes, in choosing your response, no matter the chaos around you. Next time the urge rises to argue, to shout, to assert control with noise, pause, breathe deep. Ask yourself, will my voice bring me closer to my goal? Or am I just feeding my own ego? True strength isn't measured by volume. It's measured by how calm you remain under pressure. Master this, and you no longer need to shout. You simply speak, and others listen. In a world that confuses noise with power, it's easy to fall for the trap. But remember, the strongest in the room are often the quietest. Their words heavy with wisdom. They have mastered silence, the stillness that commands respect, and the control of their own storm. When they speak, it matters. No shouting needed, they've already won with their presence. So next time conflict stirs, don't rush to raise your voice. Don't let the noise dictate your power. Step back. Breathe. Respond with intention. True strength waits in stillness. but only for those brave enough to claim it. Will you rise as the silent storm, or be lost in the deafening noise? True power lives in calm mastery, but only for those courageous enough to hold it. 9. They don't think before they speak. Words are arrows loosed from the bow of your mind. Once fired, they pierce deep, often where they were never meant to. They can build bridges, create opportunities, inspire change, or shatter bonds like glass broken by a single careless stone. A foolish person speaks without thought. Have you ever been that person? Letting words spill like a flood with no dam, rushing to speak the first thought that comes, blind to the damage left behind. But words, once spoken, cannot be recalled. Apologies may follow, but some cracks never fully heal. Each reckless word risks wounding what matters most: relationships, trust, your own credibility. The Stoics taught that silence is not absence. It is the shadow where wisdom waits, unseen but vital. Silence is the sacred pause between thought and speech, the breath that holds power, the space where clarity grows. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Your words paint your inner world for all to see. When you speak too fast, you reveal chaos, a mind untamed, a spirit unsteady. Recall the times you spoke in anger, regret following like a shadow. Snide remarks, harsh judgments, arguments spiraling out of control. It's not just what you say, but when and how you say it. Rushed thoughts breed reckless words, but slowed breaths forge words with weight, with care. When you pause before speaking, you give yourself the chance to choose words that heal, connect, and inspire. In a world drowning in noise, silence is a rare jewel. The power behind every measured word. True strength is staying calm amid chaos, speaking only when your words serve truth and purpose. We've all spilled words in haste, but with each reckless phrase, you chip away at respect, erode trust, and risk burning what took years to build. Speak with intention, and you build walls no storm can shake. A fortress of wisdom, respect, and trust. So next time your voice rises to speak, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, is this worth the risk? What do I hope to build or destroy with these words? In that pause lies power. The power to shape your world with wisdom. Silence is not weakness. It is the foundation of strength. Use it well. Speak only when your words add true value. Because in the end, it's not how much you say, but how deliberately you say it. Will you let your words build bridges of trust or ignite fires that burn what took years to build? The power rests in the pause. Master it, and you master your world. 10. They don't own their decisions. Avoiding responsibility feels like freedom, but it's a cage you build around yourself. They dodge ownership, chasing blame like a shadow flees the sun. Pretending control slipped through their fingers, they hand their power away and stay trapped in the same endless loop. True power isn't in escape, it's in ownership. Owning your decisions is grasping the reins of your life's wild horse, steering through storms, not letting it run wild. The Stoics knew this well. Our strength isn't in what happens to us, but in how we choose to respond. Storms will come. How you steer, that's your choice. Excuses bind tighter than chains. Blame cages the spirit. But ownership? It's the key that breaks every lock. Every time you claim your choices, you forge strength like steel in fire. Unbreakable, true. It's not about being perfect. We all stumble, fall, fail, but growth begins when you say, "This is mine, I will learn." Owning your decisions means owning your life. So stop hiding behind excuses. Stop blaming others. Ask yourself, what can I do differently? How will I grow from here? Each choice you own builds your power, sharpens your will, shapes your future. Remember, strength lies not in what happens, but in how you respond. Face responsibility head-on. Unlock a power no one can take away. Life isn't avoiding mistakes. It's learning from them. Own your decisions, and you own your freedom, your strength, yourself. Will you keep running from your power or claim the strength only ownership brings? True freedom begins when you take the reins.
11. They resist change. There's a phrase people cling to when they fear growth. That's just who I am. It sounds safe, even comforting, but it's a prison disguised as truth. A foolish person wears resistance like armor, mistaking stubbornness for authenticity. I'm just being myself, they say. But refusing to change is not strength, it's a cage. True power is forged in change, hammered out in the fire of challenge, shaped by the slow breaking of chains, one choice at a time. The Stoics understood this well. Each day we are sculpted by discipline or decay. Every moment offers a crossroads. Cling to old habits that weigh you down, or shed them to step into a stronger self. Change is not your enemy, it is the river that carves the canyon. Without it, you remain trapped, stuck in patterns that repeat like shadows at dusk. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Obstacles aren't roadblocks, they're the stones paving your path forward. Growth demands stepping beyond comfort, challenging long-held beliefs, and confronting the parts of yourself buried deep. This journey is uncomfortable. It strips away illusions, forcing you to face your fears and weaknesses head-on. But it's the only way forward. Without change, potential withers, and life becomes a stagnant pool, still, dark, lifeless. The Stoics knew every choice shapes us, and discipline is the hammer that breaks the mold. Change isn't something that happens to you, it is a force you choose, seek, and wield. The strongest don't fear transformation, they chase it relentlessly, using their past not as shackles, but as springboards. So when you hear yourself say, "That's just who I am," stop. Ask, is this truly my best self? Is this who I want to be tomorrow, next year, always? Growth isn't a slow fade, it's a revolution within, a tearing down of old walls, a forging of new strengths. Take your past lessons, but don't let them chain you. Break free of old chains, embrace the fire of becoming better. Remember, true strength is never still. It moves, evolves, and meets challenge with unwavering resolve. Each day is a chance to reshape yourself. Don't let it slip away. Change is your fiercest ally, the very crucible of greatness. Will you stay locked behind familiar walls or step boldly into the unknown to become who you were meant to be? The path of growth awaits, but only for the brave who walk it.
12. They don't learn from feedback. To the foolish, correction feels like an attack. When feedback lands, they shut down, dismiss it, or pretend it never happened, as if correction threatens their very identity. But feedback isn't an enemy, it's a gift, a flashlight cutting through the shadows where your blind spots hide. Without it, you stumble blindly, trapped by your own flaws. The foolish reject this light, the wise grab it like a lifeline. Correction isn't weakness, it's the hammer forging strength in wisdom. Fear of feedback cages your potential, not your ego. The Stoics were masters of self-examination. They welcomed criticism as fuel for growth. For them, feedback wasn't shameful, it was power. Seneca said,
We do not dare because things are difficult, not that things are difficult because we do not dare. Every piece of feedback, praise or critique, was a challenge to rise. Imagine meeting criticism with gratitude instead of defense, seeing it as a mirror, revealing cracks before they become breaks. Feedback reveals your hidden faults and guides you away from repeating mistakes. Think back. How do you react when corrected? Do you lash out or shut down, or do you pause and absorb? Discomfort is natural, but discomfort is the forge of growth. Push through, and you emerge stronger and sharper. The wise know they don't have all the answers. Perfection is a myth. Growth isn't about being right, it's about becoming better. Accept this truth, and feedback becomes your greatest tool, sharpening your mind, refining your actions, and bringing you closer to your best self. Reject feedback, and you slam the door on your own evolution. Embrace it, and you unlock new power. In a world full of noise and judgment, true skill is knowing what to keep, what to discard, and using feedback wisely. Defensiveness shields fragile pride, but chains you to stagnation. The Stoics knew wisdom demands adaptability. They welcomed feedback because it sharpened their character and choices. So when feedback comes, don't push it away, don't excuse it, don't ignore it. Embrace it. See it as your invitation to grow, even when it stings. Every critique handed to you is a chance to become stronger, wiser, better. Let go of defensiveness, open yourself to change, build the resilience to evolve and succeed. Feedback is one of the most powerful tools for growth. Want to live like the Stoics? Learn to welcome it. Because growth isn't about being right, it's about becoming better. It doesn't come by avoiding pain, it comes by embracing it, learning from it, and rising because of it. The more you welcome feedback, the stronger your foundation becomes. Take ownership of your growth, face the challenge, never stop becoming better. Will you hide behind pride or step into the light of brutal honesty? Your future demands courage. Listen, learn, evolve, or remain forever stuck.
Before this video ends, remember this. These 12 mistakes, they reveal where your real work begins. If even one of these truths hits you, if even one stung for a second, that's your signal. Your life is calling for change. And listen, I've already prepared part 2. In it, I'll show you exactly how to fix these mistakes, step by step, the Stoic way. But I won't release it until you ask for it. So tell me in the comments, I'm ready for part 2. I read every comment, and the moment I see you're ready, part 2 will be released. Until then, stay aware, stay disciplined, and keep becoming the person you were meant to be.